Aloha, hey, it's Julie Zemelis from 365 Hawaii Real Estate Minute, and I'm here with Lance Owens from Luba Real Estate, and we are going to be talking today about buying a home sight unseen here in Hawaii. And Lance has actually had an opportunity to do this a few times in the last few months. So, Lance, let's talk about the nuances of actually taking a leap of faith, looking at a house over the internet, having a realtor like yourself go in with a FaceTime, walk through the house, and then saying, go ahead and pull the trigger on wanting to get the contract going. What's the story?
So first of all, it's something that we've been doing for the 16 years I've been a realtor. So it's happened not near at the rate it's happening now. It's happened over the years with investors that were okay with doing that, but now we're getting people buying their forever home, their retirement home. You know, it's sometimes second home or retirement home, that type of thing. So it's a little bit different than the investor that we've been dealing with.
Because they'll never have to live there. They don't have to worry about noise nearby or smells or airflow or whatever.
Everything. So So it's a new buyer that's doing the sight unseen. So it is quite challenging, and it's a scary, very scary thing for a lot of people. So what we're doing is we're going in and we're showing all the non-fluff. You know, you got all these beautiful MLS pictures, and you should see, like, we were on with a client last night on a house in the mid sixes up on the hill. Phenomenal views like this, right? And they wanted it, man. It's like, let's buy it, let's do it. You know, we went in there and I had to just kind of tell them at the end of the day, you know, I just don't recommend this. They had a kid, I'm just like, if I had a 2-year-old child, I would not move to this house. This hill, this yard, it's not conducive. You know, I mean, it's you need a place to play in the yard. You need to build forts, and you need to have jumpy things and things like that. So we had to say no to that for them. Well, they make the decision, but I just shared our real faults. But what we try to do is we get in there. This house was post and pier, so we went in underneath. Couldn't believe what I found. I found in back behind. So many people here do unpermitted ohanas. We're familiar with that. There's so many that the county doesn't go in and say anything or do anything about it unless there's a complaint. So if you got a neighbor that you know that's upset with you and sees it and they call in a complaint, they have to come out. But other than that, they really don't monitor and follow that stuff. So it happens on a pretty rampant basis. And when I was underneath looking at this, these people had used old doors and old things like this to close in this wall. They put sheetrock on the front of it, but on the back of it was whatever they found laying around I don't know, construction sites or whatever, and it just wasn't, workmanship quality wasn't there. You know, so we had to go in and show that. It was cute as could be on the inside when we stood in there and looked at it, but
it was shoddy workmanship.
It just wasn't. You know, we talk about homeowner build, contractor build, you know, and then custom build, you know, the different things. This was definitely homeowner build. A homeowner knew how to make the inside look very pretty, but the way they got there was a little bit sketchy. So
now get this on that. If you want to get a mortgage, an appraisal guy comes out. Does he look at that too and say that is completely unpermitted? That is worth nothing.
They do call that stuff out. I've had them call it out. Not all of them will, but some of them will just say that's not workmanship quality. In fact, in some cases, they've taken away from it because they're like, this home in this neighborhood is not conducive to having 2 extra bedrooms underneath the house where somebody rents. I call it a hobbit house, you know, where they got these little hobbit rooms, and some of them are really cute and they serve the purpose and they do what they're there to do, but they need to be built in a workmanship quality to do that. So that's one of the things we want to watch out for. And my wife and I probably got 500 videos on Vimeo that are horrible. They're terrible videos. I don't advertise or talk about them, but we're there because we take these videos and we send them to our clients, or we do FaceTime with them. So it's really important. I mean, stupid things like going along and showing there's no caulking on the baseboard, there's nothing up on the ceilings. Look under the sinks. I know you've got a inspector coming in. But besides that, we're gonna, you know, let's see before you spend the money on that inspector.
To get an inspector, So, just so you guys know too, that I've gotten a chance to go with Lance on 3 houses. We're using FaceTime with the buyer on the other side, and it's interesting because I come from this. Oh, is this great? La la la. And here's Lance. let's look under the sink. He's like under the sink. He's showing the roof age. He's up underneath the rafters.
The stains in the carpet.
The stains in the carpet. So that's one thing too. At least when you have somebody who's knowledgeable about what to look for, showing you, look at this new carpeting. This carpet, if you stand back, it doesn't look so bad. But you know what? That's a what, $2,000.
If you were standing here with me, what would you see? And I want to show you what you would see, because you've seen all the fluff that's out there, you know. And I mean, I'm guilty as a realtor. I can't highlight a stain on a listing, you know. So that's not their job. But the job of somebody doing a sight unseen, no matter who it is, you know, that's what they need to be showing you, and they need to be standing out in the street and walking around. And with Google Earth these days,
you can do a lot of looking around. But you know what, though, I've learned though too with Google Earth though, that it's like maybe 2 years old. So maybe somebody's done something now that is not the same as it was not that long ago. So you know, and again, this is a general video. This isn't just, you know, hey, use Lance as an agent. But if you are going to use an agent and you are going to try and do a sight unseen, make sure they're showing you the stuff that maybe you're just not going to glance over in a real estate like walkthrough, like get under the things, show some of the things, right?
Real quick, I got that $1.5 million listing, and I got 2 people doing sight unseens on it this week, right? And the first thing they said, look, on Google Earth it showed a vacant lot across the street, and in these pictures we're picking up a house across the street. We want you to go stand there and pan around and show. I want to see what it's like left to right and what's going on, because that lot is not vacant across the street, from the best of my knowledge. So, and that's good. I want them, you know. So again, so it's not for me. It's for whoever you choose. Make sure that they're showing you the non-fluff, because me and other realtors, we put all the fluff up there to make it look great.
We have our marketing, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes time to actually think about buying that house, what's really happening?
What's happening? What's next door? What's around the block?
Right.
No matter, but it's good to do the Google Earth first before you even take the time to put in an offer.
Right, to make sure that it looks like. And one thing too that it was nice that Lance did for somebody, it was up in Kailua Village. He actually drove around the neighborhood to show them what the neighborhood like feeling, and like the houses and what that felt like. So it wasn't just the house, it was the neighborhood too, right? Because that adds to the entire experience of buying a house, right? Yeah. And also one thing too about buying sight unseen is, that's why I talked to you about this. Let's say that you get here and it wasn't what you thought. What's the story about getting out of contracts when it's not what you thought it was?
So that's the big stickler with this COVID, the 14-day quarantine and all that. So that's a big thing. So many times in the past when I did sight unseen and did all those videos, the buyers were typically able to get in within the 14-day inspection period. Most realtors write up that inspection period 14 days, 15 days, somewhere in there. So people had enough time to get into it. Well, now with quarantine,
you guys are here for 14 days in your hotel room.
Yeah. So if it's absolutely, you know, that way that you have to come touch it and feel it before you sign the final papers, we need to schedule in advance that, hey, this J1 inspection is what it's called. That's your out. You can get out of the contract on the J1 because you don't like the way the neighbors looked at you when you walked in, or something.
Or these guys across the way over here, you guys.
Yeah.
Some
the
crazy
cows
stuff
that you didn't see, and
the
your realtor
cows.
didn't see in the middle of the day, but now it's sunset and I'm here and the cows are mooing like crazy.
Yeah.
So you can get out. I know a lot of states, and this is probably where it difference for you guys, you have to have a significant amount of reason to get out.
Oh.
Some of them have a percentage. I've seen contracts from states. Yeah. So you can't get out because the baseboards aren't caulked, or the cows bother you next door. Here in Hawaii you can. So if able, and if that's your plan, then you need to do that. But that's a big commitment if it turns out the house isn't right too. Now you've spent 3 weeks in Hawaii in quarantine, and 2 weeks in quarantine, and then a week going through the house, and then seeing others before you jump on a plane to go back home. So it's a big commitment. So that initial video is highly important.
Right.
But there is a contract that everybody's signing, and we're having to present it now with all the contracts. Nobody's accepting a contract without the sight unseen, if it's sight unseen, and they're putting more weight on somebody that's here, because they don't want that. They don't want to.
Because they could cancel the contract.
Yeah, they could cancel the contract. So, but I've had questions from people when they read this contract. It doesn't. It's I had a hard time with it. I'm not happy with this contract. So, but it is what it is, and so it's there. But I want to explain to you some of the risks that you're taking with it. And basically, I'll read it real quick. and we're going to post this up in the buyers group. I'll put
Okay.
together this contract.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you're seeing this on YouTube, what he's talking about is the buyers group that we have on Facebook. So we'll give you a little link to that too.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's buyer acknowledges that buyer has requested to purchase the subject property without ever seeing it, quotes, sight unseen. Buyer understands and accepts all risks of purchasing this property sight unseen. Per the purchase contract, the buyer is provided ample time to do all the inspections and outlined and to review all the documents pertaining to the purchase of the subject property. Seller will not be required to make any repairs or pay any expenses with respect to buyer purchasing the property sight unseen.
Ooh.
So that's where it throws people out. You still have all the rights during that time.
Yeah, but that's almost like an
To-
as-is sale then.
After it closes, that's where this is confusing.
Okay.
This is not. You can still request everything. This part of this contract only refers to once it's closed and done, and you come out here, and there's things that you didn't see. There's things that the inspector didn't find. There's things that weren't there. You can't go back and ask
Okay.
later, and it's
Yes,
only
I guess
fair.
that's fair. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess that's fair. But that's why you have an inspector that you trust.
Yeah, you get an inspector. You have your realtor give you 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 inspectors that you want. You know that they've dealt with for a long time, that they've been here, and somebody that they know that's reputable and,
Right.
and does a good job. So,
Right.
but I'll finish that off now. I just want to break right there at that point to understand you're not giving up any of your rights during the contract period. You're only giving up your rights after, and you would have anyways if you were here.
Right. I mean, if
So,
that's if you once the
yeah.
escrow closes,
Yeah.
you can't go beat the
There's
guy
no,
up.
yeah, there's nothing you can do. There's no warranties. Homes are sold as is, where is, what is. So there's, it's just clarifying that you know when you've signed that contract that it's done.
Right.
The rest of it just says that the buyer hereby releases and holds harmless the seller, all the agents and brokers from all associated brokerages of any and all claims of any nature or kind whatsoever arising from or connected with the purchase and conveyance of the subject property. Buyer further acknowledges that they are hereby informed that professional property inspection by a trained inspector is recommended with this purchase. We won't do it without you hiring a thing. You can sign every release you want, but we're not going to do it. You need to hire somebody besides me. I'm
Go
looking out
inspector.
for your fiduciary duty, but still, you need an inspector. I'm not an inspector.
Right.
No,
Right. And
no
that's why we
realtor
have
is.
inspectors,
Yeah.
and they're checking for electrical
Sure.
issues and roofing and everything
Yes,
else.
yes,
Yes.
I mean, I'm good. I can pick out about 90% of the thing they're going to call out, but there's a surprise on many, many properties, because they're trained
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
professional.
Yeah.
And I've only know it because 16 years I've been using them doing it. So.
Yeah. So that's one thing too, that if you have a realtor besides Lance and you're on this island, make sure that they really have a good relationship with their inspector. Make sure that they just have all this stuff handled, because I mean, even if it's a normal home sale, when you're here, you just want to make sure that somebody's actually looking out for you in that sense. Now get this question for you. I find this great house and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'll wait. We're looking at market dynamics though. They're pretty crazy, where people are buying these houses sight unseen within 10 days and they're going off the market. So that's another reason why this is happening, right? You got market dynamics going
Yeah.
on.
But we're just, and you guys, we're not going to go over the market report. We did that on our other video, but I'm going to tell you real quick that of the 41 homes that sold right here in Kona last month in July, there was 10 of those 41 homes sold in under 10 days. 3, 4, 5 days they were gone. They were off the market. There was another 5 that sold in under 20 days, and then another 2 that sold under the 30. So almost half of the homes sold within a 30-day period, and a good quarter of them sold in under 10 days.
Right.
So
So if you are really thinking that you either A, love that house, B, really want to get to this island and move into your own home, you need to really move a little quicker.
Have things in a row. Big problem we're getting
Yeah.
too, where we're getting offers are being rejected, is that buyers need to have their home on the market in there. If it's going to be subject to the sale of a property, it's really, really important. We'll put the offer in for you and we'll do our best job. But when you've got a home going off the market in 10 days, why would you wait for someone to list it and wait for them to get offers and wait to see what happens in their market? So one of the things, you want to be prepared. You want to have that pre-approval. You want to have everything in order. So you want a pre-approval, have your inspectors lined up. You should look at the contract. We're sending out a contract to a lot of our clients, so there's not a huge question on the contract, because our contracts are 14 pages long. So can you imagine? All of a sudden, I've been videoing it for you for the last hour. By the time I get home and write it up for you, it's 6 or 7 o'clock here. It's 10 or 11 o'clock where you're at. We got to get it in the morning. And guess what? You're not gonna. If you do look at it tonight, you're gonna have a bunch of questions in the morning, and it's gonna be middle of the night for me, and I'm not answering my phone. So I might for you, but I mean, just those are things to be important. Be prepared, be set up, and know your contract beforehand,
Right.
and look at these things.
Right, and then again, we're going to reiterate this thing. But if you, and you're not the only ones, because this is happening all over the place. People are contacting us right now who are already marketing their home on the market in
Yes,
mainland,
yes,
and they
yes.
know that it's a hot market out there. They know they're going to close in 30 days. They're willing to make that decision right now. So you're competing against those people.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
So, okay. So we're going to wrap this up. If you guys have questions, leave them in the comments. We'll go ahead and try and answer them. If you feel like it, please join us at the 365 Konas. I'm buying a house and moving to the Big Island of Hawaii group. And
It's a great group. It's Julie and Eric's group.
Yep.
I'm just a guest.
And we also have a book called the Insider's Guide to Buying Real Estate on the Big Island of Hawaii that is very helpful for people who are looking to buy real estate on this island. And you can find that at 365kona.com in the moving section, along with my How to Move to Kona book. So we'll let you guys go and come back, and we'll be doing more updates on how the housing market's rolling into the fall in Hawaii.